When summer disappears and there's a chill in the air, when green grass beckons and strength swells deep from within, when there's a desire to run and fields are lined, it must be September. When lockers clang and drums are heard, when shoelaces are carefully tied and chin straps snap, when knees bend and prayers are said, it must be September. When coaches inspire, when flags wave, when coins flip, a captain calls, the anthem plays, the whistles blow, it must be September.
Saturday, September 20th, 1969. Conrad determined to win Flight A title. Conrad High, sick and tired of playing second fiddle to streaking Newark on Flight A of the Blue Hen Conference, grabbed the first big football headline in non-conference action last night at Baynard Stadium. More than 6,000 people turned out to watch the determined Redskin stop Slasianum School, a team which Newark has refused to play for the past 2 seasons. Sparked by 2 rugged lines, Conrad won 20-0. We're tired of finishing second. We want to go all the way. This season emphasized halfback Jimmy Riley, Conrad's leading ball carrier against Slasianum. We think we have the line to take us all the way. For 3 straight seasons, the Redskins have been Flight A runner-ups to Newark, which has won 33 straight football games during that period. Newark was idle this weekend, but will open league play next weekend along with Conrad. This was just a game, but I thought the boys did a terrific job in it, said Redskins coach Jim Pletcher. I believe Conrad is the first Flight A school ever to play and beat Slasianum since the league was formed. The Redskins not only beat the South convincingly on the scoreboard, but they beat the South convincingly in every phase of the game. Although tough on defense during the middle 2 periods, Slasianum could never generate any offensive momentum. I was pleased with our defensive hitting, but I kind of expected it, Pletcher said after his defensive crew never let the South penetrate its 27th yard line. We stayed with our regular 6-2 defense most of the time, and our 8 lettermen are familiar with it. But our offense was better than I expected for the first game of the season, the veteran coach went on. We have just 2 experienced boys on our offensive unit, but the whole unit played well. I was especially impressed with our quarterback, Jerry McNesby. While the stubborn Conrad defense, led by Dave Miss, Mike Doherty, Jerry Downs, and Jim Mensinger, repeatedly stopped Slasianum's threat, McNesby was engineering all of the Conrad points. The first time Conrad touched the ball, it moved 25 yards in 8 plays for a touchdown and a 6-0 advantage. 5'10", 165-pound McNesby, whose passing clinched the victory later on, capped the drive with a 2-yard sneak. Conrad couldn't get the offense rolling again until the fourth period. 5'9", 145-pound Mickey Valenti provided the spark. The senior specialist returner a punt from his own 25-yard line to the Slasiasm 17. Jimmy Riley caught the bunt and gave it to me. On the reverse, Valenti explained. I just wrapped right around the left sideline and didn't even see a Slasiasm jersey until the 25-yard line. Jack Worth prevented the long touchdowns, but Conrad quickly got one 3 plays later. McNesby rolled out under pressure to the right and fired a perfect 17-yard strike to end Chris Walker. The McNesby to Walker combination clicked again the next time Conrad got his hands on the ball. This time McNesby hit the 6', 185-pound Walker on a button hook pattern for the last Conrad score. The play covered 18 yards. Conrad now turns his attention towards the Blue Hen Conference and Christiana, its first league opponent, next Saturday at 1:30. The Redskins won't tangle with Newark until October 11th. Friday, September 26th. Wide open battle for Flight A grid. The graduation of 3 football players has never before caused as much optimism as this season in Flight A, the Blue Hen Conference. With the league set to go into full swing tomorrow, no fewer than 5 conference coaches are dreaming of usurping the title Newark High has won for the past 4 seasons. The reason? Newark All-Stater Bob Tucker, Pedro Swan, and Gary Heyman are gone. The scramble begins tomorrow morning with DeLoire at Newark, McCain at Mount Pleasant, and in the afternoon, Christiana at Conrad. Conrad, league runner-up to Newark the past 3 seasons, feels it may finally happen to bypass the Yellow Jackets. Coach Jim Pletcher was very impressed in his non-conference game against Slasianum. The Redskin defense is led by lineman Mike Doherty, Paul Sisinski, Dave Miss, Steve Mashington, and Jerry McNesby engineers the capable offense. Monday, September 29. Christiana High's Fred Neal cuts to his left during a kickoff return in Saturday's game with Conrad. The Redskins, however, down Christiana 30-0 for their second straight. The defense, they defeated Slasianum School last week in their non-conference opener. Conrad tailback Jim Riley, who also scored on a 2-yard run, takes off on his 80-yard scoring scamper in the fourth quarter against Christiana. Ace is gone, but Newark still has cards. Newark High coach Bob Hoffman spent a long day Saturday. He got up at 5:30 a.m., coached the Yellow Jackets in their first runaway of the year, starting at 9:30, then adjourned to scout his chief rival in their 1:30 kickoff at Conrad. This is some day, he said, after Newark had pounded DeLoire 38-0 for the Yellow Jackets' 34th straight Blue Hen Conference victory over 4 years, and DeLoire's second shutout loss of the year. Monday, October 6th. Newark Conrad clash, Saturday. To say that Saturday's Blue Hen Conference Flight A clash between Newark High and Conrad is crucial would be a slight understatement. Both the Yellow Jackets and the Redskins are undefeated. Thanks to impressive victory Saturday, Newark extended its undefeated string to 35 games with a 35-6 rout of previously unbeaten Mount Pleasant. And Conrad continued to throw shutouts, whipping Delaware 32-0. It was the Redskins' third straight scoreless effort. Saturday's game will be at Conrad. The Yellow Jackets have been impressive in scoring two one-sided victories at home. The Yellow Jackets started slowly against Mount Pleasant, whose Green Knights had taken care of Claymont and McCain handily in their first two starts. Delaware shut out Conrad for a period, but the injury-plagued Redskins got rolling late in the first half. Jeff Martin cracked over from the two to give the Redskins a halftime advantage. Quarterback Jerry McNesby took charge in the second half, throwing touchdown passes to Jim Mensinger and Len Sabenko. Friday, October 10th. Big play. Conrad High quarterback Jerry McNesby listens as backfield coach Tom Coder explains some offensive strategy. McNesby will lead the Redskins tomorrow as they attempt to halt Newark's 35-game winning streak. Newark Conrad seen his defensive struggle. Unbeaten Conrad, coming off 3 straight shutouts, will try to halt the Newark victory expressed tomorrow in a key Blue Hen Conference Flight A football encounter. The Yellow Jackets, 2-0 this season, have whipped the Redskins for the past 5 years on their way to 35 consecutive victories. They have won 4 straight Flight A championships in that span. The 1969 Redskins, however, pose one of the biggest threats to Newark's streak since it began. A crowd of 5,000 is expected for the 1:30 p.m. kickoff. Newark, which also has a rugged defense platoon, has whipped Delaware 38-0 and Mount Pleasant 36-6. Off the previous scores of the two teams, you have to forecast a close, low-scoring game, Newark coach Bob Hoffman said. We're not overlooking Conrad's fine offense, and I'm sure they're not overlooking ours. Conrad coach Jim Pletcher, who lost a 13-4 squeaker to the Yellow Jackets last season, hinted the final score may be several touchdowns higher than most expect. I wouldn't predict whether the game will be high-scoring or low-scoring, he said cautiously, but I'll say that Newark has a well-balanced team, and that includes a well-balanced offense. I feel Conrad does too. But with the graduation of all staters Bob Tucker, Pedro Swan, and Gary Heyman, Hoffman has rebuilt the Newark attack. Junior Ray Bias now calls the signals and frequently calls on 190-pound halfback Paul Watson or speedster Richard Armatz for running yardage. The Conrad offense is more than capable. Jerry McNesby is what Pletcher calls the typical Conrad quarterback, effective but not flashy. And Jim Riley and Jim Mensinger are both fine runners. We think Riley is one of the best running backs around this season, Hoffman said. He spent several hours watching films of the Conrad offense and Riley is impressive. Newark's defense is led by linebackers Dave Chapman and Randy McDonald. The Yellow Jackets also host a 200-pound plus defensive line in front of the linebackers. The Conrad defense is rugged in all positions. Paul Sosinski, Mike Doherty, Steve Mashing, and Dave Miss are the standouts front, while Riley and Mensinger excel in the secondary. We feel the pressure of the 35-game streak, Hoffman acknowledged, but then we felt the pressure of our 34-game streak last week. We know Conrad would love to end it all, but everyone has lately. It should be quite a ball game. Monday, October 13th. Conrad High halfback Jim Riley, who scored 2 touchdowns in the Redskins' 22-0 victory over Newark on Saturday, vaults on 2 Yellow Jackets in the third period of the Blue Hen Conference Flight A game. Riley is one of the leading scorers in the conference. Newark High's 35-game winning streak was snapped by Conrad on Saturday, 22-0. Above, Newark coach Bob Hoffman attempts to get his Yellow Jackets on the right track, as assistant Carl Rice also shouts instructions. Below, Hoffman's son, Dutch, can't bear to watch the action. This was the motto Newark used before it took the field at Conrad. By halftime, the score was Conrad 22, Newark 0, and the Yellow Jacket fans took the banner down. Conrad unscored on in 4 games after snapping Newark's streak. One of the best high school teams in Delaware has won 4 straight shutouts. Unbeaten Conrad demolished visiting Newark 22-0 Saturday before a crowd of 5,900, proving at least someone hasn't forgotten the old age art of defense. The Redskins have also blanketed Slasianum, Christiana, and Delaware. In the process of Saturday's stunning Blue Hen Conference Flight A shutout, Conrad halted Newark's 35-game winning streak, the longest in the state by far. Although the Redskins displayed plenty of offense against Newark, it was their defense which again stole the show. Tackles Paul Sosinski and Chris Salego and guards Mike Doherty and Don Robinson were primarily responsible for thwarting virtually every Newark thrust. During the game, Conrad held Newark to a paltry 49 yards of total offense, and they just got 3 first downs, more than half of that yardage, and 2 of the first downs were chalked up late in the game. Newark never penetrated Conrad's 27-yard line. The man primarily responsible for the defense, emphasis at Conrad, is 44-year-old coach Jim Pletcher. In Pletcher's 10 years at the school, the Redskins have always fielded a rugged defensive crew. We always try to build a good defense team here at Conrad, Pletcher pointed. We were fortunate to have 8 returning defensive starters to start building with this season. I have to say now that this unit has matured into the best defense I've ever coached. Aside from playing experienced, what enabled Redskins defense to thoroughly shackle vaunted Newark offense, the Conrad linemen had a ready answer. We've built up a lot of defensive pride at Conrad with our shutouts, explained 5'9", 212-pound Doherty, who was the team's defensive leader. We felt we could just shut out Newark. We had the pride and the confidence. We're not surprised at the score. I'll tell you why our offense and defense lines are so great. Tackle Steve Mashington. It's because we run and run and run some more each practice. The coaches make us run with the offense backfield, and it's paying off. Almost to a man, the Conrad defenders are convinced that they can go through the rest of the season unscored upon. However, they must face 6 more Flight A clubs, including unbeaten William Penn, which shares the league with Conrad at 3-0. I'm kind of glad to hear the boys talking that about shutout, Pletcher said, but it's impossible to go through a tough league season unscored upon. It just takes one little mistake, even against a poor team, and there goes the shutout season. Sparkled by a shifty halfback, Jim Riley, and already quarterback Jerry McNesby, the Redskins have rolled up 104 points in 4 games. Riley gained 163 yards and scored 2 touchdowns Saturday behind his explosive offensive line of Szynski and Mashington, guards Doherty and Mike Webb, and center Robinson. The 180-pounder broke innumerable tackles with his slithering style of running. Don't give me too much credit, groaned O'Reilly, who played flanker last season. Our lines opened the holes. It's the best one in the state. Substitute fullback Mike Nardo, who replaced the injured Jim Mensinger in the opener quarter, added 104 yards. McNesby completed 5 of the 7 passes for 90 yards and the Redskins' 3rd touchdown. Before Mensinger sprained his ankle, however, he set up Conrad's first touchdown, shooting from his defensive linebacker position. Mensinger blocked and recovered a Newark punt. 3 plays later, Riley sparked more yards into the final end zone. Newark came back with the only offensive drive of the afternoon, moving up to the Conrad 27. 2 penalties stalled the march. Jerry Downs scored the Redskins' 2nd touchdown, a nifty 42-yard pass play with just 50 seconds gone in the 2nd period. Conrad scored the final touchdown the next time it touched the ball. We have no excuses. Kaufman squirmed up with a weary smile. Conrad just had the best team this time around. Monday, October 20th. William Penn, Conrad continue unbeaten. Conrad coach Jim Pletcher couldn't possibly be displeased with his club so far either. While shutting out 5 straight opponents, the Redskins have tallied 154 points. 7 different players recorded touchdowns against Wilmington. Our balanced scoring really pleased me Saturday, Pletcher said. It's not often that you have 7 boys score for you. Our reserves and the junior varsity players played most of the second half and did a fine job. Quarterback Jerry McNesby tossed touchdown passes to Jerry Downs and Chris Walker and scored himself on an 8-yard run on the Redskins' route. Halfback Jim Riley, who gained 121 yards and just 9 carries, tallied on a 55-yard burst. Joe Pacchioli, Joe Saggione, and Mike Pagali were the Conrad reserves that recorded touchdowns. Wilmington was never able to mount a serious scoring threat against the rugged Redskin defenders. Monday, October 27th. Newark keeps in title running. Conrad kept pace with William Penn by chalking up its 6th straight shutout this season and 8 straight over a 2-year period. Although shackled somewhat offensively, the Redskins tripped host Mount Pleasant 12-0. Although the Green Knights held Conrad to its lowest offensive output of the season, they never seriously threatened to score. A 7-yard pass from Jerry McNesby to Jerry Downs and a 1-yard run by Jim Riley produced the only Conrad points. Defensive statistics show that the Conrad secondary only made 2 tackles. The Conrad line of Dave Miss, Chris Saligo, Don Robinson, Mike Doherty, Paul Szynski, and Chris Walker, and linebackers Mike Nardo and Jim Mensinger blunted virtually every Mount Pleasant thrust. However, Redskin coach Jim Pletcher still insists his club can't go through the entire season unscored upon. There's no real possibility, he said. One little mistake and it's all over. Monday, November 3rd. Conrad yields TDs, but wins by 36-26. Unbeaten Conrad High, previously unscored on, yielded 4 touchdowns, but generated enough offense to defeat visiting Brandywine 36-26 Saturday in Flight A of the Blue Hen Conference. The Redskins, who had shut out 6 straight opponents this season and 8 straight over a 2-year span, gave up 18 points in the second quarter, but still led at halftime 22-18. They never trailed in the game. Conrad scored on its first offensive scrimmage play when quarterback Jerry McNesby hit split end Jerry Downs for 35 yards. Halfback Jimmy Riley, who rushed for 209 yards and 32 carries, tallied the Redskins' second touchdown on a 4-yard run. After McNesby's 16-yard scamper boosted Conrad's lead to 22-0 early in the second period, Brandywine spoiled the Redskins' perfect defensive record. An 81-yard pass from Bulldog quarterback Jack Doherty to halfback Luther Hearn did the trick. Greg Griffin notched Brandywine's second touchdown on a 60-yard run, and Hearn scored several minutes later on a 1-yard plunge. Conrad boosted its slim lead shortly after intermission when tackle George Schmidt converted a Bulldog fumble into a 15-yard touchdown run. Brandywine closed the gap again in the fourth period. Doherty threw a second long scoring pass, this one a 70-yarder to halfback Griffin. However, Riley sewed up Conrad's 7th straight victory with a 20-yard run. The victory kept the Redskins in step with the undefeated William Penn, which tripped Newark 20-12. Both clubs have 6-0 records. Conrad meets visiting William Penn in 2 weeks. Monday, October 10th. While Wilmington looks ahead to a Flight 8 title in the next year or two, Conrad and William Penn are looking ahead to clinching at least a share of the Flight 8 title next Saturday. The two teams, both unbeaten with 7-0 league records, clash at Conrad starting at 1:30 p.m. Conrad pounded visiting McCain 46-6 in its latest triumph. Quarterback Jerry McNesby tossed 3 touchdown passes, 2 to split end Jerry Downs. Halfback Jim Riley tallied twice on runs of 10 and 18 yards. William Penn jumped off to a 26-0 halftime lead and coasted past host Christiana. Newark High football coach Bob Hoffman wouldn't venture even a guess about the outcome of the William Penn versus Conrad game, which will likely determine the Blue Hen Conference Flight A championship on November 15th. Hoffman, who wasn't accustomed to talking about crucial Flight A football contests in which his Yellow Jackets are involved, has tasted unfamiliar. If I could pick the winner of the William Penn Conrad game, maybe I'd feel a bit better about losing to both of them, sighed Hoffman, whose team had won 35 straight games before losing to Conrad 20-0 3 weeks ago. But I wouldn't even venture a guess. The two teams are entirely different, Hoffman explained. William Penn is fast and quick, while Conrad is strong and not so quick. The game will be a great contrast in team styles. Offense has got to knock down the Conrad tackles, or it's in trouble, Hoffman went on. On the other hand, the Conrad defense has got to contain the William Penn speed, or it's in trouble. It should be quite a game. Friday, November 14th. Conrad muscle versus William Penn speed. Everyone seems to agree it will be a speed against muscle when unbeaten William Penn plays an unbeaten Conrad tomorrow afternoon for the Blue Hen Conference Flight A football title. Both clubs have a 7-0 league record, having won all their previous games by at least one touchdown. A crowd of approximately 6,000 is expected at the 1:30 p.m. kickoff. Traditionally, William Penn fields small football teams, and despite their record, this year is no exception. The Colonials' offensive line averaged just 173 pounds, and its defensive line isn't much bigger. However, the linemen more than make up in speed what they lack in size. They have met bigger teams all season long and have outquicked everyone to date. In vivid contrast, Conrad's offensive line averages slightly more than 190 pounds, and its defensive line is even larger. The Redskins' muscle have the strength to knock over almost anyone they can reach. Almost impregnable against the run, Conrad posted 6 straight shutouts at the start of the season. Many clubs tried speed against the Redskins, but only one, Brandywine, which lost 36-26, had any success at all. I don't know just how our linemen will handle the Conrad size, but they've been able to handle some big assignments before, said William coach Bill Cole. While Cole worried over the Conrad muscle, Redskins coach Jim Pletcher worried over the William Penn speed. I guess we are 15 to 20 pounds bigger up front, but I'm not sure that's decisive, Pletcher cautioned. Our linemen have to contain the William Penn speed, or their size won't help them one bit. Conrad defeated William Penn 6-0 last year in a bruising defensive battle, the kind in which size and strength become more important in the fourth quarter. The Redskins scored their only touchdown in that 1968 game in the final period. Last year, Conrad had us outweighed by 30 to 35 pounds all over the field, Cole remembered. This year, the difference in weight is only about 20 pounds. On the size problem doesn't look quite as bad to us. William Penn not only has good speed up front, but it has a trio of swift running backs. Fullback Mike Nardo is the Redskins' most powerful runner, but halfback Jim Riley is the bread and butter runner in the Conrad backfield. Riley is his team's leading ground gainer with 933 yards in just 7 games, and he has scored 70 points, tops in Flight A. There's no question that William Penn has more team speed than we do, Pletcher said, but I don't think anyone will catch Riley if he breaks into an open field. Both clubs have senior quarterbacks. Wayne Gregg, a 6'3" performer who also kicks extra points, guides the William Penn attack. Jerry McNesby, at 5'10", engineers the Redskins offense. Both signal callers have thrown 14 touchdown passes. We hope to do more things offensively than run right up the middle, Pletcher pointed out. And I'm quite sure William Penn won't try to go outside our defensive ends on every play. We're aware of their line passing attack, and we feel we have a good one too. Split end Jerry Downs is the top Conrad pass receiver, although tight end Chris Walker and flanker Len Zabingo also catch their share of McNesby's aerials. Split end Paul Burns is Greg's favorite receiver, but William Penn also throws frequently to tight end Mike Brown and halfback Bill Brown. And we hope to use a balanced attack against Conrad, Cole said. We don't want to fiddle around and change things now, so we'll run the same things that have been successful against other teams. William Penn's last won the Blue Hen Conference crown back in 1962 with a 9-6 record. Conrad has never won the Flight A flag. Both teams have one contest remaining after Saturday's showdown. Monday, November 17th. Win assures Conrad of Super Year. Coach Jim Pletcher's unbeaten Conrad High football team put the finishing touch on the year of the Redskins' 1969 Saturday in Flight A of the Blue Hen Conference by riddling previously undefeated William Penn before a homecoming crowd of 7,500. Conrad clinched at least a share of its fourth league championship this year. The Redskins can wrap up a sole possession of the Flight A football title Thanksgiving Day at Dickinson. If the Redskins play against Dickinson the way they played against William Penn, Pletcher won't have to worry more than half of the Conrad scored 3 touchdowns against the Colonials in the second quarter and coasted to a victory behind its rock-ribbed defense. Conrad, now 8-0 in Flight A, controlled the ball on offense, while its defense was chalking up its 7th shutout of the season. Smaller William Penn was never able to penetrate Conrad's 21-yard line. This has to be the school's greatest football victory ever, Pletcher emphasized. Friday, November 28th. Unbeaten Redskins now film stars. Bad news. Conrad High linebacker Mike Nardo, number 32, stops a 135-pounder Dickinson running back Rick Wilson with a clothesline tackle in the final period of yesterday's Thanksgiving meeting at Dickinson. Wilson gained 2 yards but nearly lost his mouth guard on the tackle. Lately, Conrad High's coach Jim Pletcher has become a movie fan. Not the late show variety, but the kind they show in high school auditoriums on Monday nights. Pletcher watches game films of Conrad's unbeaten football team with the Redskins Booster Club, the latest in the series of hard-hitting slugfest entitled Conrad 42, Dickinson 26, was produced yesterday as the Redskins wrapped up their first undefeated season, Thanksgiving series 8-2. We had some beautiful runs today, Pletcher said after the game at Dickinson. I hope we have them on film. I look at them all winter. Junior fullback Mike Nardo was the featured player. Once he swept left and behind Steve Mashington's block and raced 51 yards to a touchdown. Another time he weaved 77 yards through the Ram defense to set up his second TD, a 9-yard effort. Considered All-State contender Jim Riley. Riley followed Nardo's 51-yard dazzler with an 85-yard burst through the middle 2 minutes later. Our sub tailback Mickey Valenti, he took a handoff from Riley on a reverse kickoff play and sailed 36 yards while Riley was on his back after a clip. I was supposed to be a decoy on that kickoff play, Riley smiled later. I was watching the play and didn't see it coming. The 15-yard penalty was only one of a series before the 48 minutes of football were over 2.5 hours later. Both teams had drawn a collective total of 250 penalty points, including 14 major step-offs. Conrad wasn't dirty and we weren't either, said Dickinson's Ken Norris, whose 3-touchdown performance was overshadowed in defeat. We've played dirtier games than this. It may have looked dirty from the stands, but it really wasn't. Conrad opened quickly, scoring the first 2 times it had the ball. The Redskins abandoned their usual ground attack for an aerial that chewed up the Dickinson secondary. That was our game plan, Pletcher admitted. Tom Coder, our backfield coach, thought we could pass on them. He said they're susceptible to the pass, and we went right after that. Conrad quarterback Jeremy Nesby, who played the first half and sat out the second after an injury, connected on 9 of 14 for 3 touchdowns. The 5'10" McNesby hit Chris Walker with scoring strikes of 15 and 10 yards and found Jerry Downs with a 5-yard TD aerial. Sophomore Greg Dumbach, who succeeded McNesby, hit 2 of 7 and had 2 intercepted. Conrad's third signal caller, junior Joe Sagione, was 1 for 4 with 1 interception.